My 10-year-old grandchild exclaimed urgently.
Grandma, please come pick me up right away.
It was late at night, and I jolted awake at the sound of their voice. Just a month prior, my son's wife tragically passed away in an accident. Since then, my son and grandchild have been navigating emotionally turbulent days. As a result of the strain between them, my grandson ran away from home and was missing for a week.
I need to contact your dad immediately.
I insisted. But my grandchild responded with unexpected fear.
No, I'll be killed.
Driven by concern, I rushed to retrieve my grandchild. However, what I witnessed upon arrival shattered me, the shocking truth revealed before my eyes. A year ago, I was left alone after my husband passed away. My son Michael, who is now 31 years old, had moved out after getting married, but since he lived just about a 10-minute drive away, I didn't feel the loneliness too keenly. Emma, my daughter-in-law, and I had a good relationship, and my 10-year-old grandson, Liam, had grown quite fond of me. He would visit every week without fail. I used to think, perhaps spending my remaining years surrounded by my son's family isn't such a bad idea. However, little did I know that I would soon be caught up in an unimaginable situation. Looking back, there came a point when I felt something was amiss with my son's family. Wait, where's Dad again today?
Yeah, he's busy with work.
Until then, the three of them used to visit my home together, but Michael suddenly stopped showing up. And Emma, my daughter-in-law, wore an expression that didn't match her usual self. Could something be wrong between Michael and Emma? I wondered aloud. When I inquired, she gave vague answers like, "Michael's dealing with a busy season at work," or "I'm a bit tired myself." I even called my son after they left, but he echoed the same refrain, "Just work keeps me busy." He always hung up the phone in a frustrated manner. Since losing my husband, my son's family has been a source of strength for me. I wanted to help if they had any troubles, but the situation remained unclear, leaving me powerless. One day, something happened that changed everything. My grandchild whispered to me while Emma was in the restroom.
Lately, Mom and Dad have been arguing a lot.
Wait, what do you mean?
I'm not sure, but both of them just don't laugh much anymore.
Liam looked troubled as he shared this secret with me. According to him, Michael's absence from my home was likely due to these marital disputes. Hearing this, anxiety welled up in my chest. While it might not be advisable to meddle in a couple's issues, I couldn't stand by silently when my dear grandchild was distressed. So, I reassured him. "First, I'll talk to Dad. I will find a way to help. You can trust that." With Liam still looking uneasy, I made up my mind. Little did I know that a decisive event would unfold just days later, before I could take any action. My son Michael's words hit me like a thunderbolt.
"Emma, she was in an accident."
It was one evening while I was going about my usual household chores. His call was unusual, and the shocking revelation left me speechless.
Wait! Is Emma okay?
No. By the time I received the call, it was too late.
Emma, on her way home from an outing, had been struck by a car. Pinned between the vehicle and a guardrail, she had already taken her last breath by the time the ambulance arrived. To make matters worse, the perpetrator fled the scene, leaving us with no reliable witnesses or surveillance footage. She had lost her life abruptly. The days that followed were a whirlwind of viewing and funeral preparations.
Mom, I want to see you.
My grandson, Liam, couldn't bear the farewell to his mother. Throughout the funeral, he wept inconsolably, and my heart tightened in response. Even as Emma's mother-in-law, I was profoundly shaken. The grief of losing a partner for Michael and a mother for Liam is immeasurable. However, the tragedy didn't end there. As I worried about the mental state of both of them, an unsettling atmosphere began to settle. "Hey, I haven't seen either of you much since the funeral. Are you both doing okay?"
Yeah, I'm just busy with work.
"But you both must still be processing everything, and I'm concerned."
Enough already! Stop bothering me!
On a Saturday morning, a month after the funeral, I decided to call my son and check on their well-being. But Michael's anger on the phone left me frozen. Ever since Emma's passing, he had become increasingly distant. Not only did he avoid meeting me, but his phone conversations were filled with frustration. His temperament seemed even more volatile than before. When I asked him to let Liam speak, he'd brush me off with excuses like, he's out running errands or he's already asleep. And then, the final blow.
There's no need to talk to Mom. Don't call again.
Michael may call me persistent, but I only spoke to him once a week, and that too for just a few minutes. Clearly, he wasn't in a normal state of mind, likely still grappling with shock. It's a difficult situation, worrying about my son and my 10-year-old grandson who live together. I think I'll go check on them in person, I resolved. And so, I set out to visit their home. The next day, when I faced my son, I noticed something amiss. Michael exclaimed,
What's your intention, suddenly showing up like this?
"I came to check on you because you seemed overwhelmed." "But where's Liam?" Michael, who had a day off from work, reluctantly let me into the house, but there was no sign of my grandson. As I looked around anxiously, he let out a heavy sigh.
Ah. Liam? He hasn't been here since last night.
His words left me wide-eyed.
Run away! That's serious! We need to find him quickly!
It's not that big of a deal. I know where he is.
As I panicked, Michael continued with an exasperated tone. Apparently, Liam frequently stays over at a friend's house nearby, and it's not uncommon for him not to return for a long time. It must be because he's anxious about losing his mom.
That's why he's out playing. Anyway, I've been in touch with the other parents, and we should just let Liam be until he's ready. More importantly, Mom, please come home soon.
In the end, I yielded to Michael's insistence and returned home, but a lingering unease remained in my heart. Something is definitely off. And sure enough, a week later, my anxiety would prove justified. That night, already late into the evening, I was getting ready for bed. Suddenly, there was a call from my son's cell phone. Suspicious of the unexpected call, I answered, only to hear Liam's desperate voice on the other end.
"Grandma, please come pick me up right away. I'm all alone. I don't know what to do anymore."
Wait! First, I need to contact your dad.
But in the next moment, Liam's voice pierced my ears with urgency.
"No, I'll be killed. Please, Grandma, you're the only person I can rely on."
Without hesitation, I rushed out of the house. The urgency of the situation was undeniable. When I arrived at the park he mentioned, I couldn't believe my eyes.
What happened? Why do you look like this?
Grandma,
Before me stood my grandson, dressed in tattered clothes. And as he revealed the shocking truth, I crumbled to my knees. The morning after rescuing Liam, I visited my son's house once again. A week ago, I was filled with concern for Michael's mental state, but now my feelings were completely different. Liam's account seemed almost unbelievable, but if it were true, I couldn't easily forgive my own son. When I rang the doorbell, Michael reluctantly appeared, looking annoyed.
You again, Mom! What's your sudden visit about?
Taking a deep breath, I faced my irate son. While my thoughts were far from organized, I needed to ascertain the truth. I've heard everything from Liam. Right now, he's at my place.
Huh?
Michael's response was puzzling. I continued, You haven't been coming home much lately. As I quietly delivered this message, Michael's face tensed. Yesterday, at the park where I went to pick up Liam, he told me about the days since Emma's disappearance. It was summer vacation, and the elementary school was closed. Despite that, Michael rarely came home, leaving my grandson neglected. Not only did he neglect household chores, but he also returned from work in the early hours of the morning. At times, he didn't come home for several days. Perhaps that's why Liam couldn't take my calls on behalf of Michael. Michael was often away. It's also a lie that Liam went to a friend's house. He said he's never stayed at anyone's house.
Enough! Maybe he just left on his own.
Leaving your missing son alone for a whole week. What kind of parent does that? Weren't you worried about Liam?
I clenched my fists as I confronted Michael. Maybe I didn't want to believe that my own son could be so irresponsible and callous.
He's my son, so I can do whatever I want with him, right? Besides, I've been so shocked since Emma disappeared. I can't focus on anything.
But as if to shatter my thoughts, he let out a deliberately sorrowful voice. Hearing those words, something inside me snapped. Michael is my son I raised alongside my late husband. Until the end, I wanted to believe he wasn't a bad person. But if he was determined to keep evading the truth, as a mother, I had to take responsibility. Well, if that's your intention, it's unfortunate, but I suppose there's nothing I can do. I quietly replied, extending a cell phone toward my bewildered son. Michael exclaimed,
That's my phone. Why do you have it? I thought I lost it.
Liam had it. Apparently, he decided to run away after seeing this phone. Do you understand the significance? As I spoke, Michael finally seemed to grasp his own predicament, and his face turned pale. The reason Liam, my grandson, had suddenly run away and refused to return home, even enduring hardship, was hidden within that cell phone. Facing a perspiring Michael, I recalled the shocking story Liam had shared with me the day before. Liam, left alone at home, discovered a message on Michael's forgotten cell phone. Curious about the notification, Liam hesitantly peeked into the phone. To his shock, he found a series of cryptic messages. Maybe it's better if she gets hit by a car and she always goes shopping at this time. These messages hinted at a sinister plot involving an unknown woman. Indeed, shockingly, Michael had conspired with that woman to devise a plan to harm Emma. From the messages, it can be inferred that Michael had fallen seriously for the woman at work and was determined to divorce. However, Emma had refused him due to their child. So, he planned and carried out a scheme against his wife. Looking back, it must have been around the time Michael stopped showing up at my house that Emma was approached by him about a divorce. After she disappeared, it also made sense that Michael didn't come home, leaving Liam alone, because he was with his lover. Furthermore, emboldened by their initial success, the duo decided to eliminate any obstacles, Liam included. Understanding this, Liam took Michael's cell phone as evidence and left the house. He then spent the week on the run, using the allowance I had given him to buy food and making use of libraries and train station platforms. Fearful of police involvement and the shock I might experience upon learning my son's dark secret, Liam refrained from contacting me. But yesterday, he finally ran out of money and contacted me. "I know everything you've done," I explained to Michael, who glared at me with sharp eyes. Michael exclaimed,
"Damn it! I thought I could keep it hidden. If only Liam had disappeared."
I sighed deeply at my son, who was stomping his feet in utter frustration. Truth be told, I wanted him to turn himself in, but it seems Michael has no intention of doing so. Even if he is my son, I cannot forgive someone who has harmed an important partner and even attempted to send his own child to the next world. Of course, I've already reported it to the police. They might come to investigate soon, I informed Michael. He opened his mouth in shock and leaned forward anxiously.
"The car is damaged. If they investigate, it'll be exposed."
Apparently, due to lack of money and fear of immediate exposure, Michael had hidden the car evidence in a remote warehouse owned by his company, rather than repairing it. If the police find it, he'll be caught immediately. Michael pleaded,
"I've come so far running away. Please, Mom. A mother would help, right?"
I looked down at my son, who was desperately grasping my hand and begging in a pitiful manner, with a cold gaze. I thought I had been diligent in raising him, but it seems I have made a significant mistake in how I did it. However, that's exactly why I must fulfill my duty as a parent here and now.
As a mother, I must educate you. Pay for your crimes properly.
I shook off his hand without mercy. At those words, my son's face fell into despair, and he collapsed in tears right then and there. A few days later, my son was arrested. Upon investigation, the police found that the damage to Michael's car perfectly matched the dent in the guardrail. With evidence of their planned actions, there was no escaping the truth. Both Michael and his lover were swiftly charged with murder. It seems that both of them won't be able to get out of prison for a while. As for me, I now live with my grandson. Having lost his mother and with his father behind bars, I decided to take him in. Life alone quickly became enjoyable, and Liam is gradually regaining his spirits. From now on, we'll make the most of each day together.
How did you find this story? If you enjoyed it, consider subscribing to our channel. Until next time.